Hey, so what's the difference between retailing and wholesaling for real estate investors? And the other thing I'm going to tell you is a new one called Prehabbing. That's another one that's sort of an in-betweener that you're going to learn about. So let's talk about it. So what is wholesaling? Wholesaling is when you put a property under contract at hopefully a great deal, and then for a fee, you assign that contract to another real estate investor who then closes on it, does his or her thing, fixes it up, rents it out, fixes and flips it, does whatever they're going to do. As the wholesaler, that's good because it's fairly simple. Like you just get the property under contract, you give the contract to someone else to perform under, meaning to close and do everything. And at the time you give them the contract, they give you a check. So you give contract, they give check. So it's really quick. As a wholesaler, you don't need to have cash. You don't need to put up money. So it's really, really good, especially for a newer real estate investor. And you can make good money with it. If you're good at finding good deals, you can do really well. And your parts of the business, you find good deals and then you build a small group of qualified, strong buyers, and then you put them together. And I've done other videos on getting buyers. As a matter of fact, if you look at my channel, you'll see a video I did on how to find cash buyers. So I'm not gonna repeat that here. If you wanna learn more about that, just search in my channel for how to find cash buyers. And there's a whole video I did on that. So anyway, that's wholesaling. And then there's retailing. And what that would mean is where you make the property ready for a retail buyer. So this is sort of a fix and flip, but this is from the perspective of you're retailing the property, meaning you're selling the property to a retail buyer, which means that you fix it up. So a fixer and flipper really retails the properties. So they're going to maybe list with a real estate agent. That's always a good idea because they get much broader market exposure. So they're going to put it out on the retail market, get maximum dollar for it, and that's great. That's retailing. And what you need to be good at with retailing is, first of all, be qualified to run a renovation, know how to stage your property, meaning you get usually a professional in who brings in furniture, makes it look really pretty, makes it look nice and attractive, because quite honestly, if you try to sell a vacant house to a retail buyer, it is really hard for them to picture in their mind what the place is going to be like occupied. They just have no idea. They're like, oh, how could I fit my furniture in here? And how could this even be a bedroom? And it's just terrible. You really want to stage your houses because people just don't know. And it's not their fault. It's just hard for some people to visualize. And when you sell a house, it's all about the emotion of it. People have to see themselves there, see their kids playing in the corner, see how things would fit and feel good. And you can't feel good in an echoey house that has no furniture. It's like impossible to feel good in that. So you need to spend the time and effort to stage the house, meaning put furniture in it, make it look beautiful, and that's how you're going to get your maximum dollar. And also as a retailer, you need to know what to do because things change. When I first started many years ago as a real estate investor, the hottest colors were gray, mauve, and hunter green. Now, if you did gray, mauve, or hunter green today, people are like, oh my gosh, I feel like I just went back to the 80s. Because that's how long ago I started in this business. And yeah, that would be the 80s. So you have to keep up with the trends and make sure that are people using granite? Are they using polished concrete? In this neighborhood, do they use Formica? Are they using tile? You need to know those kinds of things because you want to make it so that when your buyer walks in, they're like, oh, this is amazing, this is beautiful. Because people that are emotionally excited want your house and they want to pay top dollar for your house, and it needs to be beautiful. It needs to speak to their heart. The heart is where the checkbook is. I know that may seem strange. You may think your checkbook was in your wallet, in your back pants, or in your purse of your lady. That is not where your wallet is. Your wallet is in your heart and your emotions. That's where everybody's wallet is. Because that's why people spend money, because they get excited about something. And when you're talking about housing, they get excited about seeing that as a room for their house or a room for their family. I remember when I walked into the house I own today, I walked in there and the first thing I saw was this beautiful wall with this just gorgeous tile on it. It was very, it had 3 dimensions to it. In other videos, you may have seen that house because I film there sometimes. It was so beautiful. And then I looked through the house. On the other side of the house, there were like palm trees and beautiful flowering plants and a pool. And I walked in there and I just said, this is home. It was just so beautiful. It just had really just a warm feeling to it. And that's what I wanted. I thought, this is it. And so we were buying that house. And my wife had the same reaction. So we were buying that house. And I paid pretty much retail for it. Pretty much. And, because I wanted a house for my family. And we looked at like 24 houses, and all of them were snooze fest. And I was like, no. I was not interested. And my wife was saying, well, we got to find something. I was like the picky one in this. And I said, honey, I want something where I really see us raising our family here. I want this to be the place that we stay and we raise our family. And she said, okay. So we kept looking until we found the house. And it was that emotional appeal to the house. And as it turned out later, I discovered about that house some interesting things. One, it had been professionally decorated, meaning the people that renovated the house hired a decorator, and everything is coordinated. And we were buying that house completely furnished. So sort of subliminally, I was like, oh, this all flows together, which it did. And I'm no decorator, but I could recognize the feeling of it. I also discovered they did things like, if you look out the windows, the place where the plants are is very specific. Like I have one place where you look through one window and literally there's a palm tree and like 3 or 4 flowering plants under it. It makes like you could take a picture of it and look like a beautiful, little watercolor or something. And that was intentional. They actually placed the plants like that. And I fell for it, even though I'm a professional in this stuff. I fell for it because it's the emotion of it. And we love our house. It was a great choice. So when you're thinking about, retailing houses, work with professionals to know what they're doing. Now, you may get to the point where you know what you're doing, you don't need them, but generally speaking, you want to work with the pros who really give it that extra special oomph, because that's where you're going to make your money on it. And I would also say that we all work in different spheres. Like I worked when I first started in very low-end houses. There, if everything's in repair and neat and orderly, people love it. As you move up in the pecking order, people respond, oh, this has really nice landscaping. They go for that. And as you get to the top of the market, people buy things because they want them, and then you do crazy stuff. I think for most people, you're going to be in the lower to mid-market. That's great. There's a lot of volume there. And just see a lot of open houses, work with good real estate agents, and work with good professionals, and you do great. Now, I also promised to tell you about this thing called prehabbing. What is that? Well, it's sort of like wholesaling, except a little better. What you do with that is when you get a property that you're going to prehab and sell, all that you're doing is getting a dumpster and a couple of burly guys, and you're clearing the junk out of the house and clearing any stinky smells out of the house. So if you got stinky, smelly stuff in there, get it out of there, get it cleaned up, and get it cleaned so that it doesn't stink anymore. And the second thing to do is clean up the front yard. You don't have to clean up the whole yard, the back or the side, but clean up the front yard. Cut the grass, do a little bit of light landscaping, and just make it look like not like a haunted house. Because even for real estate investors who should be business people, they are emotionally invested also. They need to be able to see that this place could be beautiful and they could resell it to a retail buyer. So at least, take the dead trees out, cut the grass. You don't have to go crazy, but just make it look nice. It doesn't kill you to put a little mulch by the front door. It doesn't. It's cheap and it can be done on a Saturday afternoon, even if you want to do it yourself. So just do that. And if you just do that much, get rid of the junk and do that, you'll get the maximum price for a wholesale deal. And you could do really well with it. That's prehabbing. It's very simple. It's very inexpensive. And it's a really smart thing to do. And if anything stinks, definitely get that out of the house, because you do not want that bad feeling and emotion. I don't know if you know this, but I think Disney was the first one that came up with this. They used to actually pump smells into Disney World as you would go around, because it would make people feel certain ways, and smells are associated with feelings. And so you don't want your house to smell like an old terrible thing. You want it to smell nice, and at least not smell like anything, if nothing else. And the last thing I'll leave you with is, do you want to be a retailer or a wholesaler? And I'll tell you my thoughts on it. I think that wholesaling is great, especially at the beginning of your career when maybe you're not real well funded, maybe you're not that well grounded in the real estate business yet. Because in wholesaling, you just put the property under contract, you flip the contract to someone else, and you get a fee. It's very quick, it's easy, it's less complicated. I think as you develop along your career, you say, you know what, I'm making a little money as a wholesaler, but there's a lot more money to be made if I do the complete, full stack, where I do all the renovations and repairs and all that stuff. And if you've made some money and accumulated some contacts, then you can go into the next step. And you might do something as simple as maybe you've wholesaled someone 3 or 4 properties and say, hey, I'm renovating a property, but I need a good electrician or I need a good plumber. Do you have anybody? Guys and women in renovating, they pass around contacts like that all the time because there are very few people that can keep a full-time crew busy, so they'll give you referrals. And you earn that by doing some business with them. And that's a great way to get started. So I think start out with your wholesaling, do the prehabbing part, you'll make more money on your wholesaling. Prehabbing is usually like $1,500 to maybe $2,000 total, and you'll get way more than that out of it. Do that and build your way up till you're doing the retail properties, but do that once you have some money coming in and once you're doing steady wholesale deals. So if your renovation project goes over budget, you don't run out of money. Instead, you're like, all right, I've got to wholesale an extra deal or devote the profits from this wholesale into finishing my retail deal so I can get to the end of it. Because usually the retail deals are profitable, but you have to get to the end. And it's not uncommon to have cost overruns in renovation or decide, oh, I think, I'm going to do a back deck. And all of a sudden there's a big, cost that you need to be able to cover because you can't retail a property that's not finished. So those are my thoughts. Hope this was helpful to you. If you want to know more about real estate investing and all the things that I talk about, which is real estate investing, overages, tax sales, all the real estate related stuff, then definitely subscribe to my channel. I'll share lots more information with you. And if you have questions and you'd like to know more about things, please put them down below. My staff and I go through, we gather these things together, we compile them, and we try to answer as many as we can. So maybe next time, if you put a question down there, I'm doing one of these videos, I'll be speaking directly to you, answering your question. I'd love for that to be the case, but first step is with you. Put your question down there, and then I can pick it up and hopefully answer it. So this is attorney and investor Bob Diamond. Thanks for being here, and I will see you next time.